name is Segun Adefila. I'm the artistic director of the Crown Troupe of Africa. It's a performance art group that's been around for 26 years. We started in 1996 and we're still here. So, and we, as it is known with African arts, or art all over the world, it's not into compartments of dance, music, poetry, drama, visual art. It's a fusion of all. So you have elements of drama in the dance, you have music, you have all of this coming together. But of course, art was just like that at the beginning, and then specialization came into the arts. So you have specialists, we say, who are, say for instance, focused on the costuming of dance or art forms. But before that, in the classical era, you're thinking the dance, you're thinking how you want the dancer to look, which is costume. You're thinking the kind of music to follow, to accompany the dance. So you put all of these together. So, but now we can have compartments. We can say, okay, this is a specialist in costume, this is a specialist in makeup, your specialization is music, your specialization is scenery, and of course your specialization is dance. And then a further extension is the genres, the different types of dances, which is where you have hip hop and traditional dance, salsa, and so on. But for us, so we look at every form of art. I mean, our company, we look at every form of art as a store, as a library, where you have everything you need. And so if I'm going to tell a story, with Hillary, for instance, I need to go to my library and pick the elements I need. Okay, this story is going to be heavy on costumes and less on dance. This story is going to be more of poetry and less on music, or it's going to be more of music, or a balance of everything. So, and for me, this prepares your mind for, to embrace the arts as a form. So if you look around, you're going to see sculptures, you're going to see little bits of paintings and so on and so forth. But again, there'll be performances. I do not know, hip hop as it is now is not my area of specialization, but it's something we all grew up with, as young people. The West was a big influence in Africa, and when I say the West, it's mainly towards the US. And so breakdance and all of this were staples to us. We grew up with it. We wanted to be the next, breakdance champion. And I know that there used to be a cigarette called Gold Leaf cigarette. That's a brand. Dance was so popular, hip hop dance was so popular that there used to be a competition, annual competition. It's called John Player Gold Leaf Dance Competition. And so as children back then in the early 80s, we knew the champions because it would be televised all over Nigeria. So dance was just the aim thing, and it captured all of us. We all wanted to become the next hip hop, dance champion. And then of course after a while, as we grew up, for instance, and I'm saying personally from my experience, I began to gain more interest in my culture, and I began to see elements of, that's why Nigeria, for instance, you can observe it already, you can feel the energy, because it's coming, even the hip hop, it's coming from a background, it's coming from a rich cultural background that maybe the dancers are not even aware of. And the body is one big, huge store. You are a collection of 5,000 years of history, the way you are. So you see things that you can do that I cannot do. It's coming from somewhere. There's an ancestral, if you like, spiritual connection. So people begin to pick their interest in whatever they want to do. So when we do hip hop, this is Nigerian. This is coming from a strong point. And then the elements of these circles, where a person comes into the center, does something, and then is replaced by another person. That's communal. That's how we used to do. This is how we used to sit. When there's problem in the land and we need to talk about it, we sit like this. We're not in our different spaces, and this is a human experience. From Greece or from Egypt through Ethiopia to Greece to Rome we sit together. That's why you have a congress. That's why you have the House of Assembly, House of Reps, where people just sit. But in dance, we are not sitting. We are saying with movements those things we love to say. And of course, it has developed into what we have today, where people come together. And so some of us feel, we feel more alive when we've got the rhythm, because that's us communing with nature. Right there, the drum, you have a tree, and you have an animal, and all must die to give us that. So I tell my drummers sometimes that when you are very careless, just play drums and there's no spiritual or there's insensitivity towards what you are doing. You play drums and then you say, oh, our drum is torn, the leather is bad now. You've torn the leather, then we need to make another one. And when you're going to make another one, you need to get a new leather. And when you're going to get a new leather, another animal has to die so that we can get the skin. So it's not a joking space, even though we enjoy it.
Ritual.
Yes, it's a huge ritual. Yeah, so you're listening to those drums. That's why the early choreographers don't work with count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is more of rhythm. Your soul must be open. And we encourage people to say, if you have children who you groom, you train with the arts, immediately they are thinking it's never going to be the same as if you leave them communing with machines and all of those things. Because hey, the world must move on. The world must make progress. The world we live in is different from the days of Aristotle. We're in a new world where Telegram is outdated, it's not Instagram, While we are there, we also must remember that communal beginning. And so, if we argue with it, it keeps rearing its head, you keep seeing it. So, hip-hop is supposed to be non-cultural, it's supposed to be hip-hop, it's supposed to be Western, but you just find all over the world, in Europe, America, everywhere, you just see young people in that same circle by our ancestors that it started.
Asian civilization.
Yes,
born again.
it's just there with us. It's never going to leave because it's part of who we are. And so, in telling our stories, we can borrow elements from street dance, from hip hop, from traditional, from I do not see difference. I just know that this dance can be heavier in hip hop than cultural, or it is more of cultural than hip hop, or if you like ballet, if you like whatever. So that is what makes everything more interesting for people like us in practicing our arts. And because for us, dance is continuous poetry in movement. So there's poetry, but you think poetry is just what you have to say. No, it's in the way you walk. When you lose the poetry, you get drunk like I usually get drunk. And you walk and you stagger and you fall. It's because you've lost the poetry of movement. So you're staggering. It is what saves you from falling. It is what saves you from breaking things. When you are doing breakdance and you're not breaking anything except your body and the way you move those bodies and all. So this is poetry of movement, and it's embedded in our consciousness, and beautiful that it's reflecting in young people.